Love is not concerned with whom you pray or where you slept the night you ran away from home. Love is concerned that the beating of your heart should kill no one. Please rise in body and spirit for this morning's opening hymn, Bring a Torch.
Flambeau, Jeanette, Isabella, on flambeau, car en serveur soit. C'est Jésus, mon gendre d'amour, la Christ est né, Maria bella. Que la mère est bella, que enfant est beau. Bring a torch, Jeanette, Isabella, bring a torch and quickly run. Christ is born, good folk of the village, Christ is born, and Mary's calling, beautiful is the mother, beautiful is the child. Come and see within the stable, come and see the Holy One. Come and see the lovely Jesus, brown his brow, his cheeks are rosy. Hush, hush, quietly now he slumbers. Hush, hush, quietly now he sleeps. Skies are glowing, the heavens are cloudless, bright the path to manger bed. Hasten all who would see the little Jesus, shining bright as yonder star. Beautiful is the mother, beautiful is the child.
So welcome to the Unitarian Church. My name is Nathan. I'm one of your ministers. First, a weird announcement. So, Magi, this is real time. You are operating the chat right now online. I'm about to ask in the congregation if anyone would like to volunteer to be Caesar, but I want to give the online people a chance first. So, online people, if you would like to record a video of yourself, sorry everyone, pardon me. If you would like to record yourself in a video being Julius Caesar for the pageant in a few weeks, type in the chat right now. Now you all did not hear that, and I'm going to hold my phone out and see if Magi texts me or messages in Slack. We have to make this happen so it's inclusive for everyone. If I do not hear from you, Magi, by the time I finish these other announcements, I'm going to ask these good people for a thing they didn't just hear. Good? Me and you? Good. Okay. Welcome, everyone. Thank you for putting up with that. We have quite a few things to go over. First of all, next week is the blood drive. So if you would like to give blood to help and Our Lady of the Lake decides that they will take your blood, please sign up for that. Our goal is to get 25% of this church to give blood so that the whole congregation is covered if it is needed. Kids Cafe, we do this thing as a part of the Interfaith Federation. If you took the name of a child that needed a gift, today is the day to bring that. Many of you probably didn't because they go like almost immediately, but today is the day to bring that gift here. You can bring it in the fellowship hall. And if you would like to help either make sandwiches or cookies or help with the party, please see Mary Ellen Hale, who is not visibly within us. She's over there. So you have to find someone who looks like a Mary Ellen to you and then ask her. Today during middle hour in room 5, we're doing a spiritual practice on peace, which is today's Advent theme. In room 6 is a conversation as part of the sort of introduction to this faith that is not just for new people, but the question of where do we come from. And in rooms, hang on. Nope, nothing, okay. Wait. No names yet. All right. In room 7, the social justice sub-team on reproductive justice is inviting in a special guest, Frankie Robertson, who is the founder and president of the Amandala Group. This is a social justice consulting group that is specifically concerned with policy as it relates to birth rates and probably mortality rates of Black and brown mothers. And so she is going to be here to talk with the social justice team, and this is open to anybody who feels the need to be a part of this conversation. So room 5, which is straight back there, is spiritual practice on peace. Room 6, which is next door to it, is the where do we come from, and room 7, which is as far away from here as you can get, is the reproductive justice team. Good?
Yes.
Now, we do not have any names. So, sorry, online people, you had your chance. I need someone who... Oh, okay, I'm going to give you another announcement. Do I have one more? Okay. Nope. All right. So here's what we need. The pageant is the 22nd. I need someone who would like to dress up like Julius... Nope. Sorry, you all are out. We got someone. Darren, you're on. Can you email me? Mijai will send you my email address, but Mijai, don't put it in the chat. And Darren, we don't know your last name. So, but no, on the Slack, which I'm getting right now, we don't know. We think it's the Darren we think we know, but it could be some other Darren. So, Mijai, connect Darren with me, and we're going to get a video. There you go. Good. Welcome to the church. I'm so glad that we are together. And now I have to transition from that into the prayer. Do I have any other announcements that are a little... Oh, the dates. On the 14th, regular Sunday, we're going to talk about joy as part of Advent. 15th. Why do I keep doing that? If you want to come Saturday, I'll be here, I guess. So 15th will be joy. The 20th, which is a Friday, will be our annual solstice service. That is at 7 o'clock. The 22nd is a Sunday. That will be our pageant at 9 o'clock and 11:30 with Darren with no last name as Caesar. And then the 24th is our Christmas Eve service at 5 o'clock and 7:30. Online people, we're going to try to stream 5 o'clock. If we lose our bet with the technology gods, we will move that stream to 7:30. And then the 29th, we're going to do our annual Kwanzaa service. It's a lot of dates. It's good to be together. Let me move over here. And would you... Now, is it? Good. Now, would you join me in this morning's prayer and reflection? The God that we know when we see love and hope and kindness, whatever it is that holds us together and keeps us going, hold us on this day. Help us to know that even though there are transitions, even though there are disappointments, and even though there are new needs for accountability, we are not alone. Help us to know that we are building this world better because we are together. Help us to hold in our hearts all of those who experience Christmas and holidays as a sad or difficult time. Help us to make space for them, and if them is us, make space for us to be a little more patient, a little more loving. Help us to hold this world that needs our love so desperately. May you know you are loved. May you know peace. Amen.
As we are now entering the second week of Advent, the Advent season, today we will share the same reading as we did last week, and at the end of it, we invite our worship associate, Leslie Grover, to light today's candle, our candle for peace.
So I can't save the world. Can't even save myself. can't wrap my arms around every frightened child, can't foster peace among nations, can't bring love to all who feel unlovable.
So I practice opening my heart right here in this room and being gentle with my insufficiency. I practice walking down the street heart first. And if it is insufficient to share love, I will practice loving anyway. I want to converse about truth, about trust. I want to invite compassion into every interaction.
One willing heart can't stop a war. One willing heart can't feed all the hungry. And sometimes, daunted by a task too big, I tell myself, what's the use in trying? But today, the invitation is clear. To be ridiculously courageous in love. To open the heart like a lilac in May, knowing freeze is possible, and opening anyway.
To take love seriously, to give love wildly, to race up to the world as if I were a puppy, adoring and unjaded, stumbling on my own exuberance, to feel the shock of indifference, of anger, of cruelty, of fear, and stay open, to love as if it matters, as if the world depends on it.
We now light the second week's Advent candle, a candle for peace.
May it be so. The sharing of stones ritual here at the Unitarian Church of Baton Rouge is a time in our service where we take pause. We take pause to come forth to share stones as we honor the joys and sorrows of our lives with this community. Visitors are always welcome to take part in this ritual. Those who gather are also invited to sign cards for members of the congregation at the Congregational Caring Team table that's outside in our reception area. Today, we have no cards that need signatures, which is rare. And even still, I invite you to extend prayers to Wendy Garnier and Christine Nairmore, as Wendy will be having surgery tomorrow morning related to her recent diagnosis with lung cancer. Those who would like to take part in this ritual, please come forth, lining up on the east or west walls of the sanctuary, or if the middle aisle is easier for you, please take that. Online, we would like you to share your stones in the chat box. Our sharing of stone ritual begins. let us say together our chalice lighting words. With hope to make this a better world, we light this flame. Its light is a symbol of the power of love.
From all that dwell below the skies, let songs of hope and faith arise. Let peace, goodwill on earth be sung, through every land, by every tongue.
The most important thing. This is a continuous argument I have with Christianity. I've always felt like it's answering a question I wasn't asking. If you decide that the most important thing, the highest possible value is life, that is breath in the body and walking around and eating sandwiches or whatever, then you've lost. Because we're all going to die. And then you have to posit this whole other set of things you can't see and you can't connect with. If I posit instead that the most important thing is love, then what I have is, yes, I have a world that is full of suffering and evil and pain, but I have something to do. I have something to look for.
So when I initially wrote this service, I did the old trick where you start the sermon with like the little story that will tie through to the end. Use an image that we would keep coming back to. But then there's some news that many of you got this week. And I was originally going to address it later on, but I thought let's just address it right at the start. And this is the awkward drop right now. Most of you should have we sent a letter and an email this week. But for those who do not know, Reverend Chris decided to complete his ministry here with us this upcoming June. So I just want to make space for those who didn't hear it. We had a meeting yesterday where everyone but one person, I've had 2 meetings now where everyone but one person knew that. So I just want to kind of make some space for that news. You should know that I am incredibly sad about this news. Both of us were building a ministry with you that was significant and profound. And also, this church is an anomaly in many ways. Most ministers leave between 5 and 7 years. It is very, very rare that a minister like your minister emeritus sticks around for 36 years. It is also pretty rare that a minister like me will be here for 13. Usually when a minister leaves, it is because something bad happened within the congregation or within their own ministry with the congregation. Through a combination of your hard work, your love and kindness, and Reverend Chris's incredible skills as a minister, we are lucky that that is not the case here. Now, I'm going to pause in what I wrote to say, I know many of you, and I know you as a collective, you're probably going to look for what's the secret thing. There's no secret thing. Everything is fine. We are getting along great. I actually even investigated hard to find if there's any trick I could pull to change this news. I tried them, and they didn't work. Sometimes ministries naturally reach their apex and their conclusion. So, because I know that some of you can't hear, well, most of you can't hear me when I turn away from the mic. I have a paragraph for you. I have met very few ministers with more innate pastoral, prophetic, and preaching skills, and also institutional skills than you have brought us. I know these next few months will be beautiful and awkward for all of us as we try to both say goodbye and to disconnect. But we have not just done that yet. You have set this church up for success, and I thank you. And you, the congregation, there are a few things I want you to know. The way we're structuring this is Part 3 of 4 of the sermons, Reverend Chris will give his response, but we'll kind of build some other stuff in the service before that. But for you, the congregation, there are a few things I want you to know. We have decided not to go into another interim search. The board and I have discussed it, and we have decided instead to go right into looking for a new minister of congregational life. The Unitarian ministers have this weird search cycle that starts December 1st, and then in March, all of the churches that were looking announced their new minister, and then those ministers who were chosen announced to their church that they're leaving. Reverend Chris could have waited until March or April to tell us, but he chose not to. Because he told us now, we can get into a search cycle that is just a week old. I identified a secret search team, and I say secret because they did not know I had identified them. And after we told the board, I started calling them, and 3 of the 5 are in this room. So Leslie Grover, who we did not schedule to be on the chancel for that, Megan Sheehan Dean, and Angus Woodward. Online people, they're like sitting in a row right here, so it's very easy to point to. Also, E. Hughes and Cynthia Bryant are on that search team. Leslie and Cynthia were on the last 2 searches, so that's part of the intentionality so that we don't have to rebuild the entire thing from scratch. This will move faster than a normal ministerial transition, which may mean we're going as a church to have to be more intentional with taking space for whatever feelings you are feeling. Normally we give like a year to really let this smooth out, but we're not going to do that in this case. I know that this is fast, and I know that you are still processing. I know that Christmas is a weird time to talk about all of these transitions. And there is a lot we are going to lose by not having Reverend Chris as one of our ministers. And because his ministry with, and your ministry with, and our ministry with was so successful, it dramatically increases the pool of ministers who will be interested in this church. Reverend Chris came here in July of 2022. When we surveyed the congregation, when we put together the job description, we had only been meeting back in person for a few months. We were still masked and distanced and doing all of that awkward rebuilding stuff where sometimes the service would have 10 people in it. A number of you, when I asked you when you knew the church would be okay, you marked his coming or his installation as the point where you knew this church was going to be okay. Him leaving does not bring us back to 2021. It is shifting to the next gear or chapter or whatever metaphor you need. But we are building off of your and his ministry. There will likely be a lot of feelings, and these are okay. Please give yourself the space to process them. Both of us will be here for you as you do that.
Each month, this church, in the spirit of generosity and humility, we share 1/2 of our monthly offerings with a local organization that is extending our mission and vision into the community. This month, half of our collected offering will be shared with Voices of the Experienced, also known as VOTE. As I shared last week, I reached out to the leaders of VOTE, and this is what they shared in this post-election environment. They thanked us for our ongoing financial and on-the-ground support from some members of this church. They further stated they are committed to collaborating with elected officials to ensure equal rights for reproductive health, LGBTQ+ individuals, mental health, and housing choice. Their efforts include educating the public on the importance of voting and civic engagement, as well as advocating for rehabilitative, restorative justice instead of punitive, biased, and outdated practices. They will continue to rise up against the unjustified campaign that impacts incarcerated youth and adults in prison. I don't know if you all have heard of the latest, Nathan's word, shenanigans that have been happening at our legislative level here in this state. Late last month, the legislature voted on an amendment to the Constitution that will now charge 14, 15, and 16-year-olds as adults in some cases. And it will be put to a statewide vote, say March 29th, 2025, a statewide vote on that amendment to be embedded in Louisiana Constitution. Vote further says they are committed now as ever to no surrender and no retreat. Visitors, please feel no obligation to give. We at this church are building on our financial giving as a spiritual practice, extending our values into the community in yet another way. This morning's offering will be humbly accepted and shared in the same spirit. Please give as generously as you can. Will the ushers come forward? Thank you.
in the house of the matriarch in my family, there was always just to the right of the front door, there was a portrait that hung on the wall just above the piano of my uncle, my mom, and my aunt when they were children. They're all facing one way. This photo always stood out to me because I don't have a lot of stories or pictures from my parents' childhood. Every year come Christmas time, my great aunt would place the nativity scene on top of the piano just below the photo. I did not know I would have, when the last time I would have Christmas in that home. My family has been having Christmas in that home since I think the 1930s, maybe 40s. Maybe it was intuition, maybe it was a simple understanding of how aging and time works, but for whatever reason, the last 2 years that I celebrated Christmas in that home, I used my fancy camera and I took a bunch of photos of everything that I found interesting or nostalgic or important. Like one in the downstairs bathroom, they had the little hook that locks it, and over the years, when that hook dangles, it has started to carve off part of the wood, and so it was just really interesting to me that you could see. Anyway, so I'd take pictures like that. 1 year after my great aunt died, she died like a month into the shutdowns, I was looking through the old photos on my camera and I noticed something. That in 2 separate years, I took the exact same photos. So the weird little hook thing, I did that twice. And I took this exact same photo, where on the top of the frame of the photo was my family, or some of my family when they were children. And on the bottom frame of the photo was the nativity. Conventional wisdom when you preach a sermon is to give someone an image to carry with them throughout the service. That's an image, this is the image that I would like for you to carry today. The connection from our past all the way to the past of the nativity story. I believe that every person who celebrates Christmas is born on the happy side of Christmas, and over time, as the deaths start to collect, as the disappointments start to collect, as the estrangements, as the dead namings, the bigotry disguised as political discourse, the addiction, that one mental illness that no one will talk about, as these start to add up, one at a time we cross from the happy Christmas into the sad Christmas. Because today's Advent theme is peace, the goal of today's service is to help you have some peace in this world. Some ministers call this the blue Christmas service. So I guess, surprise, this is the sad service today. We'll do the happy ones later, and then Christmas Eve we'll do like happy, sad, happy. Right? That's what we do. Anyway. But we need to make space for everyone and what you are going through in this holiday. In a few minutes, we're going to spend some time with a new ritual. We're going to nestle in between 2 verses of O Come, Emmanuel. We will invite you into a prayerful space and to say out loud and invite into this presence here the names and memories of any person you wish was still with you on Christmas. Some of the logistics, Brian, this mic will need to be a little higher. Lee is going to play music underneath, but stop when it comes time for the naming, and then start again when we go back into the prayer. Does that make sense? We'll sit through this ritual, and we will make space for you to really let out whatever you need to let out. A reminder that Emmanuel means God is with us or within us, and here is my interpretation. God within is whatever that thing is that keeps you connected to this world. Whatever that thing is that keeps you going, that keeps you loving, that keeps you engaged in this world. We are inviting that reality in with us. We have 2 directions to go with Christmas. There is always excitement and anticipation, and there is always despair and loneliness. We can use the excitement and the anticipation and the decorations and the celebrations and the pageantry, all of that to try to mute and to silence those for whom this is a difficult holiday. Or we can give space for those people who are feeling their feelings and process the things they are feeling, and we can use the celebrations and the pageantry and the decorations to help lift them up. It's the same behavior, but the intention is different. So today, we are building a service to get you into the place of finding some peace about the heaviness this season can bring about.
Go ahead.
I highlighted it, and I'm supposed to read the highlighted part.
Yes.
I'm fortunate to work in an inpatient hospice that permits family to be there. I'm grateful for the special presence only a loved one can bring. At times, the small facility seems so quiet.
For some families, Christmas can bring out the worst in them as they gather together once a year. This was not the case with these families. They were there for each other in the truest sense. There were ex-wives who quietly sat by the bedside, estranged children from second marriages, and grandchildren gathered in the common areas by the fireplace.
One crafty daughter chose to deal with the stress by teaching people how to make beautiful paper stars. Day by day, each room had a new large star hanging from the window latch. Each star had a story, infused by the memories that flowed from the mouths of the creators.
The common area became a field of stars, an integrated sacred space. Lutherans, Catholics, Methodists, Jews, and non-religious people sat in clusters. New connections, hearing wonderful stories for the first time. Tears and laughter, tea time cookies and finger sandwiches, all waiting, knowing that soon the members of this tiny village of strangers would be leaving.
Who will be the first to go? Who will be the last to go? If only it could have happened at the same time, not wanting to be the first, hoping to be the last, wanting one more day, determined to stay even if everyone else is gone. When I returned the following week, the tiny village of strangers was a thing of Christmas past.
The common area was filled with new strangers. I missed that tiny village of strangers. Thankfully, the star made for the staff still hung prominently in the nurses' station, reminding us that special Christmas week when the world felt a little more peaceful. Please.
O come, Emmanuel, and with your captive children dwell. Give comfort to all exiles here, and to the aching heart bid cheer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as love to dwell. Come, you splendor very bright, as joy that never yields to might. Oh, come and turn all hearts to peace.
that greed and war at last shall cease. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as truth to dwell.
Prayer. Spirit of life, universe, Gaia, God, please welcome us into the space of sacred peace and understanding. Please hold us as we enter into this season, sometimes more alone than we wish. Please help us to connect with our hearts and our ancestors. Please allow us to hold in our hearts the names of every person who we love, who is now an ancestor. Please help us prepare this sacred space to invite in these names. I now invite you to fill this space. Speak aloud the names of those you love who wish were still here. Shirley Mae Long, Bang Long Jr., Baba, Jerry and David,
Hold these names. Hold these hearts in here. Help us to know that we are forever connected, forever loved. Help us to hold these connections forever. May you know peace. May you know love. Amen.
Oh, come, you day spring, come and cheer our spirits by your presence here, and dawn in every broken soul as vision that can see the whole. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as light to dwell. Oh, come, you wisdom from on high, from depths that hide within a sigh, to temper knowledge with our care, to render every act a prayer. Rejoice, rejoice, Emmanuel shall come within as hope to dwell.
Again, good morning. As always, it is good to be with you, especially this morning. Amen? The title of this part of the sermon is Inner Peace, Discernment, and Moving Forward. This coming Thursday marks 25 years of me becoming a Unitarian Universalist. Is that all I get for 20? Okay, just asking. It's also true, it's the 18th anniversary since having prostate cancer surgery and being cancer-free, as I learned in my urology appointment in early November. What has my 25-year journey into this religious tradition meant in my life on so many levels are undoubtedly book-worthy. And if I had to share a few short words about this, they would be theologically, philosophically, and morally rigorous, challenging, transformative, love-centered, and a never-ending quest for truth. As some of you may know, Kathy Smith, our Director of Family Ministries, has sent out postcards each week to the children and youth and their families that Owl and Minnie, who here gets those cards? Okay, good, thank you. They work hard on them. They work so hard to keep everyone up to date on things regarding what is happening in the life of this church. One of this week's cards featured the words of a very famous Chinese philosopher and writer born in 571 BC, Lao Tzu, which are also posted in the back of our hymnal that I will share now. He wrote, "If there's to be peace in the world, there must be peace in the nations. If there's to be peace in the nations, there must be peace in the cities. If there is to be peace in the cities, there must be peace between neighbors. If there is to be peace between neighbors, there must be peace in the home. And if there must be peace in the home, there must be peace in the heart." One of the biggest gifts, tools, if you will, of being a Unitarian Universalist as long as I have been and will continue to be for the remainder of my days, has been the capacities I have been and am developing to foster inner peace, as I'm sure in this community and in community, many of you are on a similar path. As we all know so well, the phrase inner peace is one of the most elusive, dynamic, ever-changing, nebulous concepts to ever be put forward as a human quest on so many levels. Amen? Yet somehow it is a phrase that best captures what I try with all of my might to cultivate through our Unitarian Universalist values, through my personal ongoing studies of my thoughts and feelings. I work hard to examine my mistakes, missteps, misgivings, and gifts, and I pray I bring it into every day and every interaction. I do this work in community in many ways to manifest this sacred, sacred word. Community is a sacred word in all that I do. Is it an easy task? Of course not. And yes, all of this work towards trying to embody inner peace comes through the lenses of my sacred, distinct, and particular identities as an African American, one a Chinese, son, brother, working class intellectual, and as out, how many percent gay? 400% gay, Unitarian Universalist, and a Unitarian Universalist minister as I interact with you and the world around me. I must work to do this with as much sustainability and joy as I can possibly muster. This work must be done through ongoing discernment as often as possible. As many of you may know by now, I have been since early June been a deep period of discernment about my life, my calling, and my ministry, what we have been and will continue to build through our evolving strong ministry together. I have loved the ministry we together with Reverend Nathan, the staff, and all of the work we have done inside this church since my arrival on July 18, 2022. each one-on-one time for tea, each board, committee, team meeting, and how much this church shows up in the larger community, and the unwavering hospitality and welcome that is steeped into the very DNA of this nearly 75-year-old church. Amen? It's also true for me that life, again for me, outside of this church and my calling here in Baton Rouge has been largely unmanageable to the point of blueness and depression. And finding space for me to thrive here with all of its gifts and toxicity have led me to discern and enter the Unitarian Universalist Association search process as of 2 weeks ago. Give me 2 seconds. At my 5 a.m. preparations, I put the page in wrong. Briefly, what does this mean? I will be here in all of my capacities, including my Monday Sabbath, preaching, pastoral care, team meetings, one-on-one time as sustainably as I can, study time, and vacation through mid-June of the coming year. I am here. Please know within your bones my relationship with you, with Reverend Nathan and the staff, have been and are a model of what a healthy, note I did not say perfect, what a healthy, multicultural, multiracial ministerial team can be. This has been exceedingly positive, and again for me, a life in community here where I too may be able to thrive has been difficult, nearly impossible to come by. Friends, you are a healthy faith religious community that is and will continue towards our Unitarian Universalist values through your well-tested mission and vision in this church, this community, and the larger world. So, as we are now in Advent's second week and the focus is on peace, how may we all move forward into this holiday season and beyond in our ever-changing personal lives and world, where we engage a spiritual practice rooted in peace, all centered in an ever-growing love. Please rise in body or in spirit for our next hymn.
Sing we now of Christmas, Noel sing we here. Hear our grateful praises to the babe so dear. Sing we Noel, the child is born Noel. Sing we now of Christmas, sing we now Noel. Angels call to shepherds, leave your flocks at rest. Journey forth to Bethlehem, find the child so blessed. Sing Noel, the child is born Noel. Sing we now of Christmas, sing we now Noel. In the town they found him, Joseph and Mary mild, seated by the manger, watching the holy child. Sing we Noel, the child is born Noel. Sing we now of Christmas, sing we now Noel. From the eastern country came the kings afar, bearing gifts of Bethlehem, guided by a star. Sing we Noel, the child is born Noel. Sing we now of Christmas, now know well. Gold and myrrh they took, their gifts of the greatest price. There was ne'er a stable so like paradise. Sing we know well, the child is born Noel. Sing we now of Christmas, sing we now Noel.
So I've been in this church long enough to be able to point to every chair where a member of this church I used to know would sit in. Some were some of the funniest people I've ever met. Some voted no at every congregational meeting, no matter the issue. He always sat over there, by the way. Some were grandparents, some were parents, some were still children. Some I can still hear their laughs, some I can still feel their handshake. For us to get to peace this Christmas season, I will ask for you to picture the gap at my great-aunt's house between the photo of my family and the nativity. Think about the connection that's of a story that is so old and so cliched and so overdone and so co-opted and so predictable that it is almost impossible for a minister to find a new angle on that story every year. Think about the connections between that story and your ancestors, or more specifically, those who have died before you, because not everyone who has died before you, you may consider an ancestor. Think about the connection that this church has agreed to make with each other. Grief can be a proof of love. The problem with investing our hearts in each other is that we know our hearts will be broken over and over again. And yet, the miracle of Christmas, the miracle of any good religion, is that love will always prevail over death and heartbreak. This is not a story about one person. This is a story about the fact that we keep going no matter the heartbreak. This is a story about how we can look at the baby, or the children making noise in the sanctuary, or the exhausted parents, or the worrying grandparents, or the teachers, or all of those who have dedicated themselves to ensuring the next generation will grow up healthier and happier and with more justice than they experienced. This is a story about seeing the fact that our legislature just raised taxes on the poor to lower taxes on the rich. This is the story about how many of you are heartbroken about this world over and over again that you thought you would have left better for the next generation, and how you feel it slipping away. This is a story about how this can be the hardest time in your life, and when you look east, which is the direction of the new day, when you look east, you can see that there is more hope and more love and more justice coming. There is a perspective that you cannot have just by virtue of the visual approximation. But right when we finished that prayer where I was crying more than I expected to, there were like 5 hardworking church members lugging bikes one at a time for the kids' cafe that's happening next week. And so I had the contrast between me thinking of every person's chair where I know where they sat and seeing these bikes come in for the next generation. So let us make space in this time for celebration during the difficult months. Let us make space for that promise that we will stay committed to this life, to building this ministry, the message of this church that all are worthy of love, that there is no God that would hate or punish, that it doesn't matter how much the world tries to crush you, you are always worth more. Whether you feel alone or embraced by many people, it is important that we are here. It is good for us to be together.
So I can't save the world, can't save even myself, can't wrap my arms around every frightened child, can't foster peace among nations, can't bring love to all who feel unlovable. So I practice opening my heart right here in this room and being gentle with my insufficiencies. I practice walking down the street heart first.
Let's sing.
People look east, the time is near of the crowning of the year. Make your house fair as you are able, that in course the flower may flourish. People look east, love the guest is on the way. Furrows be glad, for worth is bare. One more seed is planted there. Give up your strength, the seed to nourish, that in course the flower may flourish. People look east, love the guest is on the way. Stars keep the watch when night is dim. One more light the pole shall brim, shining beyond the frosty weather. Bright the sun and moon together. People look east and sing today. Love, the star is on the way.
To take love seriously, to give love wildly, to race up to the world as if I were a puppy, adoring and unjaded, stumbling on my own exuberance, to feel the shock of indifference, of anger, of cruelty, of fear, and to stay open, to love as if it matters, as if the world depends on it. Go in peace, go in love. Amen.